Hello and welcome to Turning Point Tactics, the competitive Kill Team 40k podcast and YouTube channel focused on giving you the strategies and tactics to seize initiative every turning point. I'm your host Ryan and I'm here to give you the tips and tricks to elevate every part of your Kill Team experience. If you enjoy this content and you want more, you can join our Patreon for as little as £3 a month. We'll get access to our Discord, patron priority questions, early access to videos including Kill Team bat reps, faction guides and much more. If that's not for you, you can support just by hitting like, subscribe and sharing these videos amongst the community of Kill Team enthusiasts local to you. With all that said, let's get into it.
Hello again everybody. So this is the first of what I hope will be a smaller, quicker, more general set of guides on specific areas of models that you might want to try something new on. This video is going to be on how to do glass vials or jars of liquid. It's something you can easily change your colours on or do different shaped jars, but the kind of premise is the same for each one, so hopefully it will be a bit of use. So the first thing you want to do is try and just get a nice smooth white. My biggest tip for this is just to go slowly, make sure you do nice thin layers and don't rush it. If you try and get it done quickly by just kind of like clumping up your paint, then it's just going to dry really thick and it's going to look lumpy. You can see I'm using some of my favourite paints for this, and this is Alsarin Green. And what you want to do here is really start to kind of like glaze up with a very thin layer. So get a thin layer, start to glaze up, and then you'll start to kind of get a nice see-through green. So the white will shine through it and it will make it look glowy. So that's what you're trying to go for. You can see what I've done now is I've just got more of this and I'm just going to do a few layers of glazing, and I'm always taking this glaze up. And to be honest, I didn't really do it short enough. I was glazing right up to the top, but really you're only going to need half of this jar. So what I would do is just try and make that transition happen a bit more suddenly, and you want to be glazing multiple layers of increasing amounts of green to try and make it look darker and darker as it goes up through the jar. Now I'm going to add a little bit of green ink, and I'm using ink because it's going to look a little bit shinier, it's going to actually probably be smoother, it's going to be better to glaze with as well. And I'm using this to get a really nice punchy bit of dark green to that middle of a jar. Like I said again, I probably could have done with starting that dark green earlier. I do end up starting to actually just touch up the jars in the middle after I've done some work, and you'll see where I've done that. But yeah, you want to just basically get some really nice dark green now glazed into the middle. Now here you can see I'm getting that same green, and all I'm doing is I'm just doing additional successive layers of this, trying to keep it as thin as possible to try and make sure that transition of colours is nice and smooth. The more thin layers that you do and the more kind of like successive you make it, the more gradual and smooth it's going to look. You don't have to worry about it too much, to be honest, because we're going to be adding bubbles, which is going to cover any sins. But if you want it to look super smooth, you just got to spend your time doing it. Now, I just want to show how I am making it quite dark. And that's because, like I said, you're going to be adding some little bubbles coming up from the bottom. And if you don't have a good amount of contrast with the top of the liquid with the bottom, then those bubbles aren't going to stand out against it. It's just not going to be enough. So my advice is to go quite dark with this, and then that's also going to contrast with the toppy liquid, which we're going to paint almost white. So now this is the first bit of kind of real detailed work you need to do, because what we need to do now is we need to basically paint a nice clean line of black top round your jar. So this is basically where the waterline is. Now, as you can see here, I'm just doing it perfectly horizontally. So I'm just trying to get that waterline and just paint it across my vial. So that's really nice and easy to do, and something that, you know, you just got to have a steady hand for. But the next thing, you can see this one's more at an angle. And so what you need to do is you kind of need to turn your model horizontally on its side and make sure it's level. Imagine the water is settling, and you need to paint it as if the water is settled at the angle that it would actually look. Now, this next bit you can just do with a white line, what you want to do is just at the part where the black touches the dark of the water, you want to then paint a nice white line just to kind of represent the light hitting that water and kind of bouncing off that bit, and you kind of seeing where that join is. So you just want to keep a really nice pointy brush, your pointiest brush you got, and paint the nice thinnest line you can do across that water. As you can see, this is the part of the vial which is on its side, and with this one you've just got to make sure that you're tilting and doing just the same. Now this is just that little bit of cleanup that I was talking about. What I'm trying to do is just basically bring some more contrast, because I just didn't go dark enough in the middle there. So all I'm doing is just getting a little bit more glaze, getting a little bit more ink, and just trying to make the part near the white line darker, but then make sure the transition is nice and smooth. Right, so now for the bubbles. So what you want to do is you want to take your middle colour, kind of the one you started with, and you just want to use that pure colour and start to dot small little tiny dots up into that top green. This colour should start to stand out against that darker green you did on top, or that darker colour you did on top. And after this, what you want to do is you want to mix that green into, or that colour into, a lighter colour, and then start to dot that up into the top of that vial as well. Obviously not passing that kind of white line of liquid, but you're just trying to make it look like you've got a few little different dots. The white ones that are really bright are close to the front of the vial, and the dark dots are further away. Now just before the next little part, what we're just going to do is just get a small kind of wash of green and just apply it to all of the areas we've painted. It needs to be a really thin wash, and it needs to also not be very liquidy, like not too much water so it pools into everything. We're just trying to just tint everything a slight green colour, or the slight colour that you've been painting, to bring it all together. And after this, it's time to draw your white lines. These white lines are reflective, and you will see them in any kind of glassware or kind of jars that you've got around your house. So just have a look at them to see how they work down your bottle or your vial. Essentially, you're trying to show a light source to kind of like your pin light appear on the model, and it's producing a very hard reflection of light down your vial, down your glass. This is literally the light. This is the actual source of the light that's lighting up your model. So depending on what lights you're planning on having around your model will depend on how many of these, where they are, how long they are, whether you've got spots of them, and obviously the shape of your jar will change how that looks. And if you followed that along, that should be your jar, glass vial, container, whatever you got your liquid in, it should be done. And like I said earlier, this is just one of the videos I've planned in this shorter, quicker format. I want to try and get a few more just to cover a variety of areas. So if you have any suggestions of things you'd like to see, please just put it in the comments. Anyways, happy kill teaming, and see you in the next one.
That brings us to the end of the episode. Hopefully you found something new or useful while listening, and if you did, throwing us a like would be greatly appreciated. If you want to make sure you don't miss any episodes, make sure you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell so you get notifications as soon as the next one drops. It really is the best way to help a small channel like ours. And if you can't wait and you do want early access, we have a Patreon where you can get exclusive access to all our content ahead of time. As always, we'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. Just drop a comment below and we'll get right to you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm your host Ryan, this has been Turning Point Tactics, and we'll see you next week.